Alright, everybody, welcome back to the Smoking Room of Doom. I'm gonna kick myself back and have myself a beer that's been sitting out on the deck for a really long time. And you know what? It's not horrible. When there's no other beer in the house, any beer will do. As usual, this episode of whatever the hell we're gonna call it is brought to you by a little knowledge consulting. A little knowledge. We can be a dangerous thing. So, I've actually got something fairly straightforward to discuss, and I think I can discuss this with some degree of merit. From a religious perspective, I tend to be remarkably tolerant. I was raised Southern tent. It didn't necessarily sell well for me, so while I'm a big fan of the product, I'm not really keen on the sales force. So, I've largely adopted a kind of amalgam of Judeo-Christian values with a little bit of Zen thrown in, with a little bit of Stoicism thrown in. But on the whole, at my very core, I'm what I like to refer to as a Murphist. Now, what is a Murphist, you ask? I am a very firm believer in Murphy's Law, which is, if it can go wrong, it will go wrong. Or, as Mel Brooks actually offered in a quote, hope for the best, plan for the worst, it doesn't matter, it's all unrehearsed. Now, a lot of people find Murphy to be kind of a cynical viewpoint. I actually like to think that Murphy really provides a strong sense of control. Because, number one, you can still do everything you can to plan, but it teaches you to accept the fact that sometimes things will go away from the plan. As a very good friend commented to me recently, the easiest way to make the gods laugh is to tell them what you're planning. And yea, verily they do. It's right up there with the Aquinas axiom, which is the gods get what the gods get away with, the cows do not. So, working under the premise that I'm a Murphist, there's something really important that I would like to share with you that I think really sits well. In case you hadn't noticed, I love quotes. I also really love not just Murphy's Law, but the other interdisciplinary laws. You know, all sorts of stuff from Acom's elephant axiom to Cole's law, one of my personal favorites. But one of the ones that rings truest for me are Hill's commentaries on Murphy's Laws. Now, Hill's commentaries on Murphy's Laws, I think, really help shape the core premise of what it means to be a Murphist. So, I'll go ahead and read these off a card just to make sure that I get them correct, but I largely know them by heart. So, there are four. Yeah, there are four. So, the first one, if we lose much by having things go wrong, take all possible care. How straightforward is that? It's a very clear statement of assessing the risk. You know, if it's not really a huge thing, you can take the chance. If it is a huge thing, do everything you can to look at it from every perspective. Beef up that bastion of your defenses. Be prepared with plan B, plan C, plan D, if it's an important thing. But really the key comes from the other three laws. And I think that plays especially in with a lot that's going on in the current political scene and the current world stage. You know, we've got racism and riots and Russian hackers and a pissing match between nuclear powers. It's wacky. So, Hill's commentary number 2. If we have nothing to lose by change, relax. Simple. Right now, granted, there is a tremendously high risk of bad things happening. But similarly, great things often happen from times of turmoil. When you're going through the roughest circumstances, you actually gain more from a sense of perspective, from a sense of growth, from a sense of endurance. The fact that you're still alive now is a huge thing after everything that you've gone through, and I know you've gone through some shit. We all have, really. Number 3, if you have everything to gain by change, relax. This kind of goes with that whole relax, flow, trust the moment to provide sort of mentality that I've tried to adhere to for a very long time. You know, I will take opportunities, but for the most part, I try not to sweat stuff. Because yes, it would absolutely be great for things to go really well by change, but sometimes you put a little bit too much of that energy into it, and what ends up happening is you can be impatient. You can move things before their time. You can jump on things long before they're actually ready. And that's almost as detrimental as screwing things up, honestly. But really, the biggest one is commentary number 4. And this is the one that I think most people have their heads really finding it difficult to wrap their brains around. If it doesn't matter, it doesn't matter. That's tough. That is a killer, because it is natural to want to invest ourselves and to put energy and to put passion and to put everything into things that ultimately may not matter. And you have to relax and let things happen. And as you let things happen, you'll find out the things that really do or don't matter. A lot of relationship questions, you know, what is or what isn't. I've gotten in fights with all my friends at least once. Knockdown, drag out ones. I've gotten into fights where I wish I'd never see people again, but still, these days, I'm still friends with them, and those fights from way back when don't matter. And the people I hold close, I still hold close. Daily instances and arguments at work, guess what? At the end of the day, they don't matter. There's no real point in investing in them. And honestly, and this is a challenge for a lot of folks, what's going on in the world with all the things that I mentioned, the majority of those things aren't going to matter in the long run. Change is either cataclysmic or glacial. And cataclysmic change, you're not going to have a choice whether or not to deal with it. And gradual change, you can contribute to the sides that you want to improve. You know, feed the wolf that you want to survive. You know, feed the things that you want to survive. And that's where I oftentimes find myself reminding people to build, don't break. You know, it's easy to criticize, it's harder to coach. That's why there's so many critics and so few coaches. It's taken the easy way. So, just wanted to make sure I did a video this week. And I honestly think that this is a great one to keep in mind. So I will actually reiterate it slightly. Hill's commentaries on Murphy's Law. If you have everything to lose, if we lose much by having things go wrong, take all possible care. If we have nothing to lose by change, relax. If we have everything to gain by change, relax. And if it doesn't matter, it doesn't matter. And just as kind of an addendum, the big phrase for this week has been advance with confidence. Whatever you do, however poor you're feeling, whatever things you're trying to overcome, accept the fact that you either will or you won't. And advance with the confidence knowing that whatever happens, if you do or you don't, you're still going to be able to make it worthwhile. If you don't have success, you'll have a great story. Thank you.